I don't know about you, but have you been feeling the urge to clean, maybe redecorate? Maybe you're nesting it. Can't tell you how many things I've bought on Amazon lately. It is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, if you're not in the cleaning mood, maybe you feel like you need to dive into your comfort foods. Or perhaps you've been reflecting on finances, questioning a relationship, or maybe feeling a little extra stubborn or spicy. My mom would totally say strong willed, but whatever it is, it's these impacts we think about this time of year as far as it being the autumn. We're heading into fall, and these transitions may be necessary. But what if I told you there could be another reason for this? Yes, the lingering energy of the full moon in Taurus. These cosmic events, especially the full moon in Taurus, is known for the need for stability while at the same time shaking up our routine. So these feelings, these cravings, these inclinations, if you will, could actually be a result of the full moon in Taurus. Now, I know this might sound like something maybe woo woo or something out of a sci fi movie, but stick with me here. You know, in ancient times and with ancient wisdom, there is both a correlation to the full moon cycle and its influence in our lives. So today we are going to explore and help us understand how the moon's phase might just be the life hack that all of us have been missing. Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another Mindful Monday. I am your host, your girl, Arika Trimnell, also known as the Mindful Mistress, here to offer you some spiritual insights to help us grow, embrace our journey, and break free of the prism of limitations. That's right, the prism of limitations. So this week, we are going to peel back those layers of the cycle of the full moon, the lunar cycle. And one of the most timeless questions is, does the moon really affect our mood and decisions? Well, I'm going to give you a little tea. It does. The moon definitely influences not just the tides. We all know that, the moon influences whether it's a high tide or low tide, but from ancient wisdom to modern day psychology, there is an understanding that the moon impacts us as human beings, and the cycles can help us shape how we make decisions, regulate our emotions, and just live with overall greater intent. So let's discover how the moon's rhythm is really an untapped resource for better health and well-being. So first, I want to start off with the science, of course, and spirituality of the moon's impact in our life. So when we think about like ancient wisdom, for centuries, civilizations like the Mayans, the Egyptians, and the Chinese have all looked at the moon as a guide for whether it's planting crops, for tracking time, navigating the emotional landscape, and even rituals. When we think back to earlier days in the US, the farmers planted by the moon phases. That's why we have certain moons like the harvest moon and the beaver moon, and the almanac. Healers definitely use the moon cycle to plan rituals based on where the moon was in the sky. So you have the waxing and the waning of the moon, which really can be used as mirrors for our own cycles in our own life of growth and reflection and renewal. So these traditions weren't just superstitions, but actually they were rooted in observing how nature, especially humans, responded to the rhythm of the moon, the waxing and the waning. Now, when we talk about modern psychology, let's start with the facts, right? The moon's gravitational pull controls the tides, and we all know that our bodies are at least 60% water. Now, some of us are dehydrated, so you could argue with me and be like, hey, Arika, I'm not 60% water. Got it. Understood. But let's just say we've got a lot of water in our bodies. So it's really not a far stretch. I'm not capping when I say that the moon really impacts us as well. They may be for some people more subtle than others, but research really shows that the natural cycles, like the moon's phases, really influence our sleep patterns, our emotional states, and even social behavior. Full moons are often associated with heightened emotions. You can ask any police department or fire department, hey, what happens on a full moon? They definitely have a story. So this just kind of goes to show or gives us a little proof in the pudding when we talk about the moon's impact on our emotions. So new moons typically invite us to be more introspective. I love doing the first new moon of the year. I love doing a vision board party. I know typically most people do it right before the new year so that they have their vision set for the year. But I love doing it on the new moon because the new moon invites that particular introspection so that we can really go in and tap into our deepest desires and manifest from that point and really consider what is it that I really truly want. So it's just really supportive in that particular environment. So even if you're not consciously noticing when the moon is full, when it's a new moon, if it's in its waxing phase or waning phase, these subtle shifts really do have an impact. And I will say, at least for me, a profound impact on how I feel, how I act. I definitely can tell you this new moon in Taurus, your girl was buying so many things for the house. You will come to my house probably if you came right before, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and then like you came like a week ago, and then a week now, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You're totally nesting. But it is part of what this full moon has called in. It's called for that nesting. It's called for that stability. It's called for that grounding energy that we know the Taurus to be. Now, the phases of the moon and their effects on their well-being are all different, right? So I had already kind of talked about the new moon, but just to circle back, new moon is a beginning. It's a new phase. The sky is dark and it symbolizes a clean and clear slate. And this, again, is a time to set intentions. This is a time for be introspective, to reflect inwardly, and embrace a quiet renewal. I love, instead of using it's October 1st, the first of the month, I like using the new moon to coincide with this is a new month. This is a new refresh, a new beginning, a new opportunity for me to plant my intentions in the soil, what I want to birth during this cycle. So during this time, you might feel lower energy, but really deep introspection during this time. It's a perfect opportunity, again, for journaling, for meditation. Again, a vision board party is a perfect time. Now, when we think about the waxing moon, this is when the energy then is starting to build that energy. You start to build momentum. So as the moon grows, so does our own motivation. So you might notice a change in your focus, your motivation. This is a time of action. This is a time where, if we're thinking about divine energy, where the masculine divine energy might take more of a front seat in the things that you started planning. It's like, okay, we started planning, now let's start tilling the soil. Let's start working. Let's add in the water. Let's add all of the things that whatever it is that we planted so that we can start to harvest. So the new moon is the start of the new projects, and then the waxing moon is that building, is that intention towards the goals. Then we've got the full moon, which is the illumination and the release. It's the emotional clarity that it brings. It's the hidden light in things, which helps us to see what's working, what is not working. So again, if we're thinking about, New Year's, setting our intentions, that next full moon really helps us to see, okay, we said that we were going to do X, Y, Z. This is what's working from those plans, especially if you did SMART goals, right? You have those little actionable steps to that major goal or maybe milestone. You can see what's working to get you to that milestone. You can see what is not working. And this is a perfect time to release what is no longer serving you. That includes relationships. So people, sorry, got to go by. But many of us also feel really energized or emotionally sensitive during this phase, which again is an ideal time to celebrate progress and release whatever is holding us back. Now, after the full moon, you have the waning of the moon. So you have this beautiful bright moon, and now the waning is you see less of the light. You see more of the darkness start to kind of slowly come in. And so this is a perfect time for reflection, for rest, a time to start slowing things down, because we can't be in that masculine energy, right? All of the time. There's a time to do things, there's a time to get things done, and there's a time for that rest and digest, that parasympathetic parasympathetic nervous system to kick in. It's time for that feminine energy to kick in, to slow down, to tie up loose ends. And this phase really invites, again, that reflection and encourage us to rest as we prepare for that new cycle, and we prepare to maybe plant new intentions to work towards. So we really can use the moon as a tool for self-awareness and our decision-making process. Just even knowing the different stages, right? That right there can help you plan, make decisions, know when to go hard, when to go ham, when to hustle, and then know when it's time to step back and, rest and prepare for the next cycle. So the moon phases really reflect cycles that we experience inwardly in our lives. And by paying attention to how you feel during each of these phases, you really can align your actions to the natural rhythm versus fighting against it. So imagine it's a new moon, it's a time for setting intentions. And here you are trying to put in the work. You're trying to do the waxing, but now is time for the planting, or vice versa. Maybe it's the time for rest. And here you are again trying to go ham, but it's really calling for rest. I'm sure we all can recall those times in life where we are like, I have planned to do this, and this. And every time you set forth on those plans, you hit that brick wall. You hit that wall, or you keep being directed. You keep being directed, or you keep hitting a point where you are slowing down, or you're forced to slow down, or you get injured. So you have to sit in that and rest. That's the universe saying, hey, we all operate on cycles. Did you not get the clue that I'm sending you throughout nature and everywhere else in your life, that you need to slow down? Now is your time to rest. Now is your time for reflection. Or now is your time where, hey, you need to get your butt up. Now is the time we planted those seeds. Let's put in some work. So being able to use the lunar cycle as for awareness of clarity, we understand that the moon phases can help us reframe challenges as actual opportunities. So if you're feeling overwhelmed during a full moon, it may be a call to actually release some patterns, set some boundaries. Again, that's another thing. As I'm talking, I'm like, oh wait, I'm having my own epiphany. I was setting a lot of boundaries this full moon, but that's another story. But again, just to use it as an example, similarly, in the when we talk about the new moon, which invites us to dream big, it's time to plant those seeds. Get out there and plant those seeds. Be a Johnny Appleseed, right? So some practical ways that we can leverage the lunar cycle and our awareness of what each phase represents is by, first and foremost, tracking your mood, tracking your energy. How do you feel? What is your mood and what's your energy level? Maybe do on a scale from 1 to 10. What's your energy? Keep a journal of how you feel during the different lunar cycles. And over time, you can use this as a pattern that helps you plan activities that are more in alignment with what serves you best, right? So if you have low energy during this time and you are trying to plan an event, maybe that's not the best thing to do, right? maybe you need to plan some self-care activities. Maybe you need some more restorative activities in your life. If you've got that low energy and maybe a blah, stoic mood, um, laissez-faire, if you will, So being able, one, to have that awareness is great. And then so that from that place, you can align your attentions with the moon. So using like the new moon to set goals and full moons to release old patterns, put in boundaries, reflect on progress. It's like using the moon as your personal coach or guide. Yeah, that's right. I said it. So that means you don't need me. But until now, right? If you didn't know that, then you needed me to at least give you that information. I promise I was not gatekeeping. But yes, you can use the moon as your own guide, personal coach. I mean, there's so many things in nature, not just the moon, that show us the blueprint, the pattern for life, and how to adjust to a change, how to handle grief, how to set goals. Like so many of the staples or big themes that happen through our life that repeat often, we can leverage nature, um, again, ancient wisdom in so many different ways. And of course, yes, the moon is one of them. Another way is to just honor your own natural cycles. So if you feel more energized during the waxing moon and more, let's say, introspective during a waning moon, then work on a schedule that puts those important tasks when you've got that higher energy, or and changes the less important tasks when you don't have the energy, or maybe you don't have any tasks when you don't have the energy. Work with your own personal cycle as well. And lastly, I would say for the lunar cycle and using it as your own personal guide is to be curious and stay grounded. You do not have to believe that the moon controls absolutely everything, but you certainly can find value in the rhythm that it creates and use it as a tool, not a rule. I know, I thought of that all by myself. But anyways, I encourage you to, reflect on this, and you beautiful, bright souls, leverage the moon as it reminds us that everything in life has cycles, has phases. We can find the balance between, hustle and rest and action and digest and all of the things, and clarity and mystery and growth and relief. It's all about embracing what rhythm works for you and finding ways to enjoy the beautiful rainbow, the beautiful spectrum of our lives, because again, they all come in cycles. As soon as you are on whether the crest or you are in a trough of your life, that next cycle is literally just around the corner. So finding ways to create alignment between things in nature and yourself to be able to use that to understand your own patterns is really a good tool for our own growth and development. So I'm just curious, leave a note or tell me in the comments or shoot me an email, however you feel. What phase of the moon do you feel you are most connected to, and how does that influence your own personal health and well-being? I'm just curious. Share your thoughts, comments. Let me know if this was helpful, if you want more. I love to share this growth and opportunity with you guys. This is a community. We are doing this together. We are figuring out this thing called life, because there is really no road map, and it takes all of us and our collective experiences to grow and to better ourselves. We're constantly pushing, and that's what I'm here for. Thank you for joining me today. I love you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Love you.